You stand in front of the closet. You open the box. Inside, old letters, baby shoes, your spouse's sweater. You were just decluttering. But suddenly, you can't breathe. They said it would feel freeing. They said downsizing would give you peace. But what no one told you is this. Decluttering after 60 isn't just about getting rid of things. It's about confronting everything those things represent. And that's why it's so hard. Not because you're disorganized, but because you're human. Because these items are soaked in memory, meaning, identity. And no one prepares you for the emotional weight of deciding what stays and what goes. You've probably heard advice like, if you haven't used it in a year, toss it. Your kids don't want your stuff. Just get rid of it. Clean house, clean mind. But after 60, decluttering touches something deeper. It's no longer just stuff. It's the life you've built, the people you've loved, the version of yourself you're afraid to lose. In this video, we're not going to tell you what to donate or how to fold. We're going to talk about the real, hard, emotional truths behind decluttering in later life. The truths no one wants to admit out loud. But every senior feels. You'll learn why this process can feel overwhelming, even when it should feel good. Why family may not understand what these objects really mean. Why some things are harder to let go of than others, and how to face that. And how to move forward without guilt, without shame, and without rushing it. If you've ever opened a drawer and shut it immediately, tried to sort your things, only to end up sitting in silence, felt like, I should be able to do this. Why does it feel so heavy? Then this video is for you, because you're not just cleaning, you're reckoning. And that takes more courage than anyone tells you. People think decluttering is about the house, but really, it's about the heart. Let's begin. You're not just letting go of stuff, you're letting go of identity. Carol is 68. She's standing in front of her sewing machine. It's dusty, unused for years. But beside it, a small tin of buttons from the 80s. A faded sketch she once made for her daughter's wedding dress. And just looking at it, her eyes sting. Her daughter says, "Just donate it, Mom. You don't sew anymore." But to Carol, it's not a machine. It's who she used to be. The harsh truth. Decluttering isn't just about what you use. It's about who you once were, and who you're afraid you'll never be again. After 60, so many things in our homes aren't just objects. They're symbols of past versions of ourselves. The career we worked hard for, the hobbies we once loved, the energy, the rhythm, the life that felt full. Letting go of these things can feel like admitting, that part of me is over. And no one warned you how quietly devastating that can be. What this feels like. You hold an object and suddenly remember a version of yourself. Younger, bolder, busier. You hesitate not because of the item, but because of what it represents. You feel like you're erasing a life you worked hard to build. You wonder, if I let this go, what's left of that chapter? And so you keep it, not because you need it, but because it proves you were someone. And you still are. What you can do. Don't rush the identity grief. It's okay to feel sad about letting go. That sadness means you lived fully. Not that you're weak. Create a legacy shelf or memory corner. Keep a few items that honor your past. Not hide it. Photograph things before donating them. Preserve the story if not the item. Speak the story aloud before releasing the item. Say, "This was me when I..." Let your current self bless your past self, then move forward. Because identity isn't stored in drawers. It's stored in how we remember, share, and carry our story forward. Deeper truth. You're not letting go of who you were. You're making space to honor who you are and who you're still becoming. Your family doesn't want most of it, and that's okay. Dennis is 73. He kept his father's tools in perfect condition, arranged, labeled, oiled every spring. He offered them to his son last summer. The answer: "Dad, We just use battery stuff now. I wouldn't even know what to do with half of these." Dennis laughed it off. But later, he quietly packed the tools back into the wooden chest. Not angry, just hollow. The harsh truth. The things you treasure may not mean anything to your children. And that doesn't mean they love you less. We grow up in different worlds. What once cost a month's wages can now be replaced in minutes. What once meant pride or sacrifice may seem inconvenient or irrelevant today. And when our kids or grandkids say, "I don't need that," we hear something deeper. That part of you isn't important to me. But that's not what they mean. They're not rejecting your life. They're just building their own. What this feels like. You offer a beloved item, and they politely decline, or even seem uninterested. You feel shocked. Don't they understand what this meant? A quiet sadness creeps in, like your memories are being ignored, or worse, like your legacy might disappear. What you can do? Let go of the hope that your family will inherit meaning. Meaning is personal. What's sacred to you might be sentimental to no one else. Ask what they truly value, not what you wish they'd take. You may be surprised. A photo, a recipe card, a story means more than furniture. Pass down the memory, not just the object. Write the story behind the item. Record a voice message or short video. Leave something only you can give, your perspective. Because one day, they may not remember the object, but they'll remember the emotion, the moment, the message. Deeper truth. You're not passing down things. You're passing down meaning. And that can live on, even if the object doesn't. Have you ever offered something precious to your children, and they didn't want it? Did it hurt more than you expected? Type #2 inches in the comments if this part felt familiar, or just sit quietly for a moment. That ache means you still care. And that's beautiful. Clutter isn't about mess. It's about emotion. Marie is 70. Her hallway closet is overflowing. Coats, linens, bags. She opens it, sighs, and closes it again. Every month, she says, "Next week, I'll tackle it." But somehow, she never does. She's not lazy, she's overwhelmed, because what's inside that closet isn't mess. It's memory, guilt, decisions she doesn't want to make. The harsh truth. Clutter doesn't pile up because we're messy. It builds because we're protecting something emotional. Behind every box you haven't touched in 10 years, behind every drawer you avoid, there's usually one of these emotions hiding. Grief, I'm not ready to let go of this person. Fear, what if I need this later? Shame, why did I keep this so long? Guilt, this was a gift. I should appreciate it. Hope, maybe one day I'll use it again. We don't delay because we don't care. We delay because we care too much, and we're afraid of what letting go might unlock. What this feels like. You touch an object, and your chest tightens, not from physical effort, but emotion. You avoid certain corners of the house because you're not ready. You judge yourself for not being strong enough to handle it. You feel like your stuff is winning, and you're losing. But here's the thing. It's not about discipline. It's about compassion. And that starts with telling yourself the truth. What you can do. Name the emotion before touching the object. Ask, what am I really holding on to? The item or the feeling? Use the 3-question test. Does this item make me feel warm, heavy, or stuck? Is this about memory, fear, or identity? Would I take this with me if I had to move next week? Release with ritual, not resentment. Light a candle. Say a thank you. Let your goodbye be an act of respect, not shame. Because clutter isn't just what fills our shelves, it's what fills our hearts when they're too full to let go. Deeper truth. Letting go isn't weakness. It's choosing peace over paralysis. Some things you save will be forgotten anyway, but you still need to decide. Richard is 76. He's kept hundreds of family photos. Boxes full of albums, envelopes, slides. Half of them aren't labeled. He doesn't even remember who some of the people are anymore. But every time he thinks about tossing them, a voice inside says, "What if someone cares about this someday?" And yet, year after year, the boxes stay sealed, untouched, unshared, slowly fading. The harsh truth: not everything you save will be remembered. But that doesn't mean you failed. It just means you still have to choose what matters. Many seniors keep things not because they still use them, but because they hope they'll matter to someone someday. A recipe card, a childhood toy, a letter from a forgotten cousin, even a ticket stub from a movie in 1972. But the truth is, most of it won't survive. Not because your life isn't valuable, but because time, context, and memory fade. And it's not your job to preserve everything. What this feels like: you look at something and realize you no longer know where it came from, but can't throw it out. You feel a strange sadness. Will anyone even care about this when I'm gone? You fear that letting go means being erased. But here's what matters most. Your legacy is not in your storage boxes. It's in the choices you make about what to pass on and what to release. What you can do: choose 5 things that tell your story and preserve them well. Label them. Write a note about why they matter. Make them beautiful, visible, meaningful. Let go of the guilt of maybe someday. If no one would know what it is, maybe it's okay to release it. Not everything needs a second life. Turn forgotten items into moments. Share a story over dinner. Digitize a photo and send it to a grandchild. Say out loud, "This mattered to me." That's enough. Deeper truth: what you leave behind isn't the stuff, it's the story, and the story lives only when you decide to tell it. You can't declutter the past, but you can declutter the guilt. Susan is 71. She opens a drawer and finds a stack of birthday cards she never sent. Some are decades old, addressed, stamped, never mailed. She feels her chest tighten. There's also a box with baby clothes from a child she lost, a letter from her sister she never forgave, a bracelet from her mother, still tangled in sadness. She wasn't keeping these things because they were useful. She was keeping them because she hadn't finished grieving. The harsh truth: some of the things you hold on to aren't things at all. They're guilt, regret, words never said, promises never kept. And when you try to declutter without acknowledging that, you end up stuck. Many seniors say they can't get rid of certain items, not because they love them, but because letting them go feels like admitting, "I didn't do enough. I never made it right. I still feel shame." And so the clutter grows, not with objects, but with unspoken stories. What this feels like: you pick something up and instantly put it back. You feel a wave of heaviness, not physical, but emotional. You say, "I can't deal with this right now." But it's been right now for years. And deep down, it's not about the drawer. It's about what you're still carrying in your heart. What you can do: acknowledge the emotional layer first. Before you sort, ask, is this grief, guilt, or memory? Write a letter, even if you never send it, to the person you lost, disappointed, or never forgave. Say what needs saying, then let it rest. Turn the goodbye into a blessing. Light a candle, hold the object, and say, "Thank you for what you taught me. I release this with peace." You're not erasing the past. You're making room to breathe. Deeper truth: letting go of an object doesn't mean letting go of love. It means letting go of the pain you don't need to carry anymore. Have you ever kept something because of guilt, not joy? Have you ever felt frozen by a drawer full of unresolved emotion? Type #5" in the comments if this part hit close, or take one deep breath and say, "I'm allowed to let this go." You're not throwing away your life, you're making space for it. Elaine is 74. She's standing in her living room, 4 bags by the door, a few empty shelves. The air feels lighter, but her heart is full. She hasn't gotten rid of everything, but what she kept, she chose with love. What she let go, she released with thanks. And for the first time in years, she can sit in silence, without feeling buried in the past. Decluttering after 60 isn't minimalism. It's not about clean counters or tidy drawers. It's about deciding what still belongs to the life you're living now, not the one you lived 30 years ago. Because the hardest truth is also the most powerful. You're not throwing away your life. You're making space for the chapter you still have to write. Let's remember, you are not your stuff, but your stuff has a story. Some things deserve to be remembered. Some things deserve to rest. Your family may not want the objects, but they need your wisdom. Your pain doesn't live in your things, and it doesn't have to stay in your heart. What you choose to keep is not just about preservation. It's about intention. And the space you create? That's not emptiness. That's freedom. What you can do next. Choose one small box, one drawer, and begin without judgment. Keep what still speaks to your spirit. Bless what you release, even if no one else understands why. And trust this, your life is not behind you. It's wherever you decide to open the next door. Have you ever cried while decluttering? Not because of the mess, but because of what it meant? Have you ever felt stuck between memory and freedom? Leave a comment, even just #6 inches, if this video helped you feel seen. Your story matters. And if you want more powerful, honest content about life after 60, right finger, subscribe to Speech Balloon Longevity Talks Herb. We're not just clearing space. We're making room for what really matters.